Yes, namaste, man. What's going on? So today, someone asked me about, Gerald, getting started in your first real estate deal. How do you advise that? And I thought, well, man, let's do that. Let's do a video today and just take you mindset-wise. Like, we're not getting down in the weeds. Okay, this is big picture, like what you should look at, how to find the property, source it, using your filters, getting your property. Let's talk about the numbers, getting it up, get it rented, and all that good stuff. Listen, don't believe people out there telling you prices are too high, this and that. Yeah, maybe so. But guess what? Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you're going to get lucky. Maybe you're going to get chosen. And by just getting off the couch and getting out there and just walk those overpriced properties, you'll be the first one to get them when they're no longer overpriced. And you would have walked and seen a ton of real estate, and you'll be light years ahead of everybody else who's trying to wait for it to come down. So don't listen to that. Just push, man. Go get some properties. Let's start with our first deal. Also, man, real quick, we're going to go to the whiteboard, but don't let current circumstances keep you from learning this process, learning this game, this idea of this is a huge part of the millionaire code of getting rich. I mean for average people, like this, what I'm about to show you is how average people actually acquire and build wealth. Come on. Okay, so let's talk about just finding properties. I mean, where do we even get the deals? And keep this simple and do other things as you become more sophisticated, have more money, build more relationships. And I think what you'll see, what I'm saying, most properties are listed on the MLS, right? Multiple listing service. This is where agents, when you go to a real estate agent, you say, hey, I want to sell my house. They're going to put it on the MLS. Well, there are apps and websites like realtor.com, Zillow.com, and redfin.com. And there's probably others too, I'm sure. And then there's some for commercial properties, but these apps let you access the MLS. And on there, you're going to see all the numbers that you're going to need to play with to figure out this property. Can I afford it? Does this look like a property that I want to do? One thing I want to say on these, it does have filters, and we'll talk about that. But this is the easiest way, MLS. Other ways you could find properties is driving around. Again, I think when you get more experience, more sophisticated, learn your area, have more properties, these things here become more realistic. Close friends and relationships, maybe a plumber, an electrician you use. I would highly encourage you to build relationships. That becomes part of this game too, right, of real estate. But first we got to find houses, but as we find them, you're going to see, I talked to you, you need to develop relationships with people. Friends can help you. Hey, a friend of mine selling a house, the guy next door is talking about selling his house. Maybe you can jump them and get there before the realtor does, and maybe you could get the property off market. But most likely you're going to go through realtor.com, Zillow.com, redfin.com, and in other ways through an agent, okay? And on this, if you put your information in, you're going to get banged by different agents. It's not necessarily the listing agent. It's agents that paid realtor.com or Zillow or Redfin money for your lead. You become a lead to a realtor. You could just as easily find who's the listing agent, call it the listing, simply call them and say, hey, I'm interested in a property you have leased, and go around this system. Now, sure, realtor.com, Zillow.com, and redfin.com don't want me to tell you that, but that's what I do. I'm not going through I'm not somebody's lead for this shit. I'm a professional. So I've bought houses driving. I've had friends and relationships find me properties, and also target marketing. But this is more advanced stuff where you're running online ads and mailing. People make that seem simple, like they talk about wholesaling. That is an actual skill set and art, and probably a whole different game than actually buying properties off the MLS. And agents, obviously, lastly, the cool thing about an agent is they'll have a fellow agent tell them, hey, I got this property. We don't even have to bother listing it if you got a buyer. And they have deals going on among each other. If you can get in that network, that's always great too. right, so let's talk about the types of real estate. Might call it real estate classes or grades. So, okay, great. We got Realtors, Zillow, we got Redfin. We can look for properties on the MLS, which then allows you to go out and drive around and see them. And so you want to do that. Go walk some properties, man. Go look at them. What you're going to see is properties are, especially when you get into commercial, but from an investor point of view, we want to grade the kind of properties. And basically there's really 4 kinds. Once you get down and, below this is the guys that, maybe you got skills in construction. You buy distressed property, you have big pockets, you could turn around a mall or an old building. Like if you have that kind of money, then you can play down in here. And there's actually tax incentives to play down in here. There's zones where you get taxed preferably because they want you to invest and turn that area around. And that's good stuff. That's not something you need to be overly concerned with when you're first getting going. What you're wanting to do is right around here, C into the D. So what I would recommend is go find the ghetto, go find, or low income area, whatever you want to call it, right? Go find those areas in your area and get how much does a property cost here? What that's going to be is the bottom of where you can possibly even consider buying, which is very rough neighborhood. We don't want to do that. We want to go up from that. So I want to do it. Let's say this is a really rough area for whatever reason. We want to go out here, right on the fringes, okay? Right on the fringes. 1's going to lower the prices. 2, we have the possibility of it being turned around in city project expansion, sidewalks. 3 of my properties are in an area where they put in new sidewalks, new city lights, and they're trying to make the area better and raise property taxes. Different people moved in, investors bought property, and the area just gets nicer and nicer. That happens. I've also had properties where it goes the other way. So that's the risk. That's part of the risk of investing, is that you as the investor are assuming risk, okay? So we have to look at the kind of property. So recently I just did a short-term rental. For short-term rentals, there is this, That's what really surprised me when I was looking in short-term. Just like in regular long-term rentals, there's, like, hey, this is where broke people go. Like if you're gonna go to the beach, this is the cheapest one. And they're what you would call Class C. Now, not everybody in Class C is broke. Some people are just frugal. Like they're not going to pay for no high-end building when they can get this for 1/3 of the price, right? So some people are just frugal. Most of your Airbnbs, if you want to make good money, have a nice property, you're looking in the B. Meaning this is probably nicer than you would live in. So like I own one and I don't live at the beach, but I own a rental at the beach. Meaning I can afford to put money to work at the beach, but me, myself, just chilling at the beach, I'm not really there yet, right? So, but anyway, this isn't in the uppers, in the B class. But for your standard old long-term rental, find the worst place, pull back a little, draw yourself a circle, and then start looking at your apps, your Realtors, your Zillows, and narrow down. So now we know how to find properties. We know where to look for properties. Right? So now we're getting closer. All right, so now that we know where to find property, and then we found the socioeconomic class that we're looking to buy property in. In other words, we want to get C-class property and rent it to working class folks. That's my audience. We need to target our audience. Short-term rental, we're really targeting middle class, upper middle class who want to rent a beach house or a lake house or a mountain property. Like they got a little extra disposable income. It needs to be nicer. You need a nice refrigerator. Not to say the others aren't nice, but you need higher end stuff, right? Then these properties are treated differently, right? As far as especially the value of the things inside of there. When it comes to long-term rental, LT, for me, when I'm doing filter, what I'm really looking for is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. This is my bread and butter. 2-1, it'll be written as 2, meaning 2-bedroom, 1-bath. A lot of houses you're gonna see are 3 2s, 3 1s. What does that mean? 3-bedroom, 1-bath, okay? Why? Well, I self-manage, me and my family, me and my wife, and we do a lot of the maintenance. But let's look at a roof. The roof on a 2-1 is half the price of a roof on a 3-2. Now, all that said, the bigger the property, in theory, the more money you can rent it for. But guess what? It narrows down your renting pool. Only so many people are going to rent a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's a pretty big house to be renting. You're going to have a lot of turnover because it doesn't take long for people who can afford to rent a 3-2 to realize, fuck, why am I giving this guy all the equity? I'm going to go get my own property. But when you get down in here in the 2-1s, this 10 again, C-class rentals, working class people, they can't run off and buy a property. They know that. So they're really happy to have a 2-1 and will stay 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That's been my experience. These people turn over a lot. Now, these properties appreciate more. You can get more on the flip for them for sure, and you can get more rent. But guess what? If you're like me and you paint it, it takes a lot longer to paint a 3-2 than it does a 2-1. It takes a lot more flooring to go into a 3-2 than it does to a 3-1. So this also involves turnover of property. This has an unlimited market to sell it to. Small houses are easy to sell. This, you're gonna need a hot market to get the highest price possible. If you're getting into flipping, you're probably gonna be looking more into 4-2G, 4-bedroom, 2-bath with a garage, like you know, or at least in this range. This is not about flipping. This is about cash flow. This is about low down payment, C-class, working class neighborhood. If anything, we can add value. Maybe we can add a bedroom. You know, that would be nice. Turn it into a 3-1. You know, maybe you can see those arbitrage because people aren't looking for it because they're out there looking for 3-2s, 4-2-2 in a garage. They're not looking to buy a 2-1. So by finding that, you can find somebody you could expand. You know, I bought one, it was on 2 acres. It means you could build a whole nother property. So you can find these little things like that in this little market here, and it's cheaper and easier to get into that market. All right, man, that was a lot of fun. So we got through part of it, you know, to keep this video from getting too long. So what we found is a quick way to find and look for properties. You know, we talked a little bit about relationships. We'll get into that more. We talked a little bit about real estate agents. We'll get into that more. We talked a little bit about the resources of Realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin. We could talk about how to use those for more. We talked about agents can bring you deals. So when they see that you're the real deal, they're going to want to deal with you. We've saw that there's a difference in grade and quality of properties. There's A-class, upper income. There's B-class, upper middle class. There's C-class, which is working class and middle class. And then there's D, which you get into, you know, the rough areas. And below that, you really need some skill sets to get down into there. But that shows you there's a wide range of different types of real estate, different types of properties out there. And we didn't even talk about commercial or trailer parks or, you know, rental space. Like there's so much stuff, but this is just the basics of what I'm looking for to acquire. And you're going to see a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Get that house in the marketplace, put a customer in it, make someone happy, and then you collect some money and build wealth for you and your family.